Sure, penguins live out on the ice, but it doesn't make any sense in hockey because they only live south of the middle of the earth. It's funny. Antarctica, how many hockey games have been played there? Any? I think in 0. Maybe Sidney Crosby should leave the Antarctic and come to Colorado. Who's to say? Let's start the show.
Besties off the ice, but enemies tonight. It's a tale as old as time. Hi, everybody. It's the DNVR Avs pregame show from the Toyota Lounge. Brought to you by your Front Range Toyota dealers, high above the DNVR bar on York and Colfax. Glad to have you along for the pregame show presented by our friends at Coors Light. You know it's a good time when the mountains are blue. Hi, everybody. What's up? Oh, what should we talk about today? I don't know. It's like Christmas came early for the Colorado Avalanche because they went from to, hope you don't have any plans in late spring and early summer. Nick Gismondi, Gizmo, my man Rudo with you. We'll hear from Big E in a little bit, and Tiff behind the scenes doing Tiff things as always. So glad to have you guys along for this one. I think it's going to be a real good hockey game tonight. The Pittsburgh Penguins, the last game of a road trip, so there's a bit of fatigue for sure. I'm still feeling pretty good about where we are at with this hockey team. I think what you're also going to see, in addition to a goaltender who is now finally competent and a goalie tandem that, again, they're going to have to do this by committee like they did when they won the Cup a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But you're also going to see a team reinvigorated by a couple of guys who are going to be very good in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reinvigoration is the key for tonight, too. I know that Blackwood won't play tonight, but still, that's got to give the rest of the Avs lineup a little bit of a shot in the arm on what could be a tiring stretch. You should feel better about yourself as a team. It helps mentally when they make that move. I talked about it with Wedgwood. When they traded for him, I thought it was a signal that the Avs front office was saying, hey, we're not abandoning you guys. We're showing you we're committed to going out and getting guys that can help you win. Obviously, the big move now shows that is true. So, look, the Avs should be ready to go out and play some quality hockey.
I've got a brilliant marketing idea for Home Depot. Boy. Just throw your name on the what is now Ball Arena, the Home Depot Arena. I mean, you got more lumber in there than they do, I think, with the woods. Wedgwood, Blackwood,
Mileswood.
I mean, come on.
It's someone I think called the Avs goaltending tandem or the Avs net the lumber yard.
Or the woodshed. You ready for the woodshed? I like that, Andrew. That's actually great.
Some good ones out there.
I like the woodshed. Oh, we're going to have fun with this. It's like a dream come true in terms of puns. The trade was massive. Let's touch on it a little bit, and then we'll talk about it more during the game if y'all want to chop it up in chat. Rudo and I were very active on Twitter yesterday in regards to it, but the takes of, we lost the second round, we lost Kovalenko, it does not matter. I'm sorry. I know he's a fan favorite here, but it does not matter. You are in a desperate position right now for a team that is Stanley Cup or bust. That is the referendum that has come from CMAC, ownership, everything across the board. So you have to win right now. And with the goaltenders that you had, that was not going to be a possibility. That was not happening. Kovalenko, 8 points, 28 games. Third line. He's not even making enough. He didn't even have a game-winning goal. So his contributions were not drastically affecting the offensive output of the Colorado Avalanche. Scoring goals is not this team's problem. It was keeping them out of the net, and that was not going to be the case, unfortunately, with Georgiev anymore or Annunen. And with the move that you just made, yes, this is a Stanley Cup contending team, without question.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are overcomplicating a very simple conversation when it comes to this trade.
Very much so.
The only question you need to ask yourself is, are the Avs better after this trade? And if the answer is yes, then good job.
Yeah.
Now, I understand. Look, however you feel about Kovalenko, sure, maybe you believe he has upside in the future that the Avs are letting go.
Great.
Chris McFarland said it himself, the GM of the Avalanche who made this trade. You have to give to get. This is not the Chell video game where you can add 4 fifth-round picks in 2028 to get a trade to go through. You have to give up a valuable asset to get a valuable asset. That happened to be Kovalenko. Personally, I think it's an intelligent move. Secondarily, the Avs also did this without giving up a first-round pick, which is a big deal for their future trades that they're likely to make at the trade deadline. They hold on to some arsenal of capital that they can spend later to make themselves even better.
If you want a starting goalie in the middle of the season and the rest of the league knows you're struggling, you better do something.
Yep.
I saw today that San Jose, people are now like they're the favorite of the underdogs to maybe make a run. So it's even more surprising. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm saying that. I'm just saying I saw that a couple of times pop up today. And listen, maybe Georgiev goes and has an incredible season, and maybe people are like, oh, the bottom line is that he wasn't a fit here anymore.
Yep.
And the other point of that for me is that not only was he not a fit on the ice, but I've been around hockey long enough, and so is Rudo, and so is Eric. You could feel that in the room. I'm sorry, you can. And you saw it on the ice, and that is clearly evidenced by the way that they played in front of Georgiev versus the way they played in front of Annunen versus the way they played in front of Wedgwood the other day.
Yep. They as a team, and it's not necessarily anyone's fault, but just mentally, the team was, I don't want to say broken, but certainly being worn on mentally. Georgiev, as an individual, same thing. He needed a fresh start as much as the Avs did. So
if your general manager says that the performance of your goaltending shook us to the core, that tells you everything you need to know.
It was just the best choice for everyone. And wish all the best for Georgiev in San Jose. Hopefully he plays great there and finds his game and figures it out. But the Avs just needed something different. Now they have it.
That's nothing personal. It's a business at the end of the day. That's what hockey is.
Exactly.
And you get caught up in it a bunch of different ways. What else about tonight? Tonight's a fun one, right? The Pittsburgh Penguins not the best hockey team anymore. And I think there's always a little bit of a stigma around them because they have been good for so long.
Yep.
They've got a couple of the best players on the planet on their roster. A little bit of a fun reunion for MacKinnon and Crosby. They are very, very close friends.
Yep.
They spend a ton of time together. They might as well be brothers. But it'll be all business tonight.
Yeah, I do have a stat pack here. The Pittsburgh Penguins are an interesting team. You mentioned Crosby. They have Malkin. They are a very dangerous offensive team. They do have the ability to score a lot of goals. They're not scoring great. They're expected significantly higher than what they're actually producing. So don't let that team start getting right and finishing a little bit better tonight. But more importantly, there are not a lot of teams that struggle as much as the Avs do when it comes to goaltending so far this year. Now, the Avs have new guys in net, so maybe there's some optimism for the Avs to be better there.
Yeah.
There is not really any optimism in Pittsburgh's net. It's Tristan Jarry again tonight. He's been terrible this year. Their save percentages are in the dump. Their defense isn't any good. On goals against, they're the worst team in the league. They give up the most goals of anybody in the NHL. This is a team the Avs should be able to pick up a bunch of goals on. You should see your top line scoring. You should see your second line scoring. You should see your defense scoring. You should probably even see your depth scoring at least one tonight.
Does Wedgwood score one tonight?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but it would be super fun if he did. The Avs should be able to score a lot on this team. They should be able to put themselves in a situation where, look, they might get scored on a lot too. It's going to be another test for Scott Wedgwood as the new backup, tandem, whatever you want to call him. Their new goalie gets another test after a great shutout against New Jersey. Let's see if he can string together a couple of solid games here against some highly dangerous offensive teams.
Yeah, and just for some clarity, I see it a couple times in chat. Wedgwood was going to get the start tonight, I would say, no matter what, after a shutout performance and a day off in between. Blackwood not with the team, actually got traded on his birthday, which I know you guys all talked about, but under the weather, flew to Denver, did not even join the team, hence Trent Miner getting called up. So Miner, the backup, Blackwood not even with the boys. He'll meet them back here tomorrow. But they do have a day off tomorrow, by the way.
Even if he wasn't sick, would have lined up like, do you really want to bring him over here for one game of this road trip? Just send him home and you'll meet him there after the game.
This gives him a chance to pack up a little bit.
He can get his personal life in order. Exactly. Yeah. So it probably was going to line up that way anyway, with even if he wasn't under the weather. But it'll be interesting to see when the Avs get back home and pick up Blackwood. But right now, you should have all the confidence in the world in Scott Wedgwood. He's played great for you.
That's fine.
So the Avs should feel good. I'll put about it that way.
Yeah, I think this trade was in the works for a while. I think I knew, and I said it. I said when they moved Annan in, they were for sure moving Gorgiev because it, in my mind, was a total reset.
Yep.
I understood it right from then, and they kind of worked it out. And then when Wedgwood had the comeback in Buffalo, and then you punctuate the shutout, it was like, yep.
It's all
done.
It's all lined up. This thing happens, and this is true in real life, where you kind of just get used to the problems that you deal with in life, like, and then something comes along, or you make a decision and you finally fix one of those problems, and you realize the way you've been living is like stupid, and why have you been doing that for so long? That's kind of what happened with Scott Wedgwood coming in and playing goaltender for the last couple of games. So
sums up my personal life. We might have to talk about, was it BetterHelp?
BetterHelp.
Yeah. Is that an ad read today, later? Tiff, give me that number of that truck driving school I saw on TV the other day, man. Let's catch up with...
I think that was a clown college.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I could do that as well. Yeah, listen, trust me, I got options.
Sorry.
That's funny.
Sometimes I chime in and I just
That's
like,
funny.
I make you lose your...
It's a shot in the dark. That one guy in the chat that wants me fired, yeah, I'll go check out the clown college. I'm sure he's the professor of that thing, running it from his basement. Let's check in with Eric Lacroix for his 3 keys.
All right, 3 keys. 3 keys. Biggest 3 keys for tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Last game of a 5-game road trip. Key number 1, be organized. What does that mean? I read a quote from Coach Bednar that I loved after the game. He believed that they were organized, that the foundation was there in the sense that it started in their structure and in the D zone. There were buff pucks. Guys were really making a concentrated effort on being on the correct side of the puck. It starts right there, and they felt that against a good team like the New Jersey Devils, they really limited them to what they thought one of the best games of their season. So let's keep going tonight, and let's make it happen again just like last game. Number 2, make it an emotional game. What do I mean by that? Bring the passion. Bring the passion. You're 3-1 on the road trip. You've won the road trip. Make it an outstanding road trip. Bring some emotions. Build your game with some passion and make it a great 4-1 road trip. It goes a long way, and it's great for team morale. And then you're coming home for a week. So rock and roll. Don't leave anything out on the table. It is a tough one. It's the 3rd game in 4 nights for the Avalanche, and you guys know how I feel. I don't really mind the back-to-backs. I don't like the tail end of a 3-4. Number 3, show some support. Clear message was sent yesterday by the front office, which I thought was awesome. You got to play for one another. Not only did they send a message yesterday, but they sent it like last week, right? They totally overhauled the goaltending structure of the Avalanche. So, you know what? Show some support and go do your job. Play for one another. You have something special. There's something special there brewing with the Avalanche. And I'll tell you one thing. There's no more excuses now. A lot of people were talking about the goaltending was not good enough. This has nothing to do with the athletes that were shipped out. We're talking about purely a fit for the Avalanche. They felt that those guys were not a fit. They wanted to go in a different direction, and they sure did. They pulled the trigger. So you know what? Go prove everybody right. Go prove everybody right. Don't try to prove people wrong. Prove people right that they were right to go and solidify the goaltending position to give you guys a chance at a championship team.
Good point. No excuses anymore. And one of the other comments that CMAC made was that we felt that we had to make this drastic goalie overhaul because we owed it to the group in the room. All right. We did it. We obliged you. Now you got to show up too. Blackwood's got to show up. Wedgwood's got to show up. So far, yes. Blackwood to be determined, but I expect that he will. Good point, C. Well, we'll carry it on now with our fun segment that we like to call Hockey in the Rockies. We get Big E back in person here shortly, but for now, we love the reach outs from the other side of the country, buddy. a move like yesterday, and as a guy that played in the NHL, what does this mean to the guys? What does it do to the room? What's just the general vibe when something like that happens?
Buddy, there's no question that's a huge boost. That is a huge boost. It is a shot in the arm. And you got to remember, when you make a deal like this, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not like, oh, yeah, we lost the game tonight. Let's just rehaul everything. This is something that they've thought about, they've looked at, probably since last year, and felt that this is a position they needed to upgrade in order to aspire to the championship with an unbelievable core that we talk about all the time that should be able to win championships here the next 4 or 5 seasons. With that said, there's nothing against the athletes. There's nothing against Alexander Georgiev or Nikolai Kovalenko, the people. This has nothing to do with that. When you make a trade, that's nothing, usually has nothing to do with the person or the people that they are. It's more about what they felt as a team, as an organization. And you're going to remember, everybody's on the same page. You make deals like this, you do talk to your leadership group. You do get a sense of what they feel, what they think has gone on at that position, or for that matter, anything around the room, or anything that they feel that should be addressed. And so you all know that everybody's on the same page. You all know that all of a sudden it's not easy. This is not Xbox where you just make a little deal. It's hard to make deals in the National Hockey League. But I'll tell you one thing, what that tells me about this front office, from Joe to the CMAC, the hockey ops, the scouts, the pro guys, amateur guys, it tells you they're on the same page. They've all done their homework, and they felt that this is something they needed to do, and they pulled the trigger. They weren't afraid to pull the trigger. A lot of GMs, and I've seen that over the years, are afraid to make moves. They'd rather stand pat. I do believe that once you make a decision that you are going forward with it, like the Avalanche did yesterday, then you know what? You never look back and you look forward, and you go as a team and go and try to prove everybody right, that everybody belongs. And sometimes, yeah, you do make moves like this and they don't work. They don't work. But you felt that even if it doesn't work, you were better off instead of just standing pat because you felt it wasn't good enough. So I think the Avalanche feel that it wasn't good enough. They needed something different to aspire to the cup or bust season, and I think that they did it. Kudos to them, and I love the move, absolutely.
All right, thank you, E. This is a stretch and a half on the road. 19 in the last 22 days.
Yep.
Gone. They come home for like 2 days,
like 3 or 4, I think. But
gone,
yeah, then
3
right
or 4,
back
then they're
out,
gone
yeah.
again. And when they made that last jump home, they were only home for like 36 hours.
Yeah,
or
not even
that. It is tough. I've never done it as a player. I've done it as a broadcaster with NHL teams, and it's friggin' exhausting. So, I can't even imagine what this is like. But they come home tonight. Do you remember those days?
I'll tell you what it's like. Those are the you don't miss playing. You don't miss the gruesome schedule. You don't miss lacing them up, getting out there. Of course you do. I mean, a little bit. But what you miss is days like today. You have the chance to make an unbelievable road trip, go 4-1 in a crazy 3 weeks in my mind, and then all of a sudden get on that bird. Sit in the back of the plane. You get treated like royalty. It's so awesome, and you get the good food, and I look forward to just sitting at the back table and play cards with the fellas, and that's what I miss. That's what I miss. When you get away from the game, those are the days you remember, and you remember those flights coming home, and of course you're going home. You can't wait to see your family, your kids, or whatever it is, the situation that you're in. But I'll tell you one thing. Those are the days like tonight. I remember fondly on those road trips and coming home and those long flights home and then just hanging with the fellas, loosen the tie up, put a t-shirt on and just absolutely have a blast with your friends, your teammates, the guys that you're with every day. And you know what? I wish I was on that plane tonight, but not going to happen. I'm a little bit too overweight right now.
Road trips are a good time, and hopefully these guys got a little bit of bonding time in. It would have been nice for Blackwood to have got in on that, but certainly good for Wedgwood. The vibe in the room tells you just about everything you need to know in regard to that. Let's talk about goals.
Yeah. Look, the Avs as a team this year, it's not that they aren't generating enough chances, that they haven't been finishing as a good enough rate. And every couple of nights, every third, fourth, fifth game, you'll see them blow up for 5, 6, 7 goals. So they have it in them, but they have to start scoring more consistently. And that's up and down the lineup. I think you've seen a lot of nights where the Avs will get a bunch of goals out of their top line, but won't get goals from anywhere else. And then you've seen nights where their top line disappears, and you get some depth goals that they're not able to capitalize on as effectively. So it comes to scoring goals. The Avs need it a little bit more consistent from everyone. I think that includes even the guys who are scoring a ton of goals like Mikko Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen's a very good player. He's had a very good stretch of hockey. He also tends to score goals in bunches. He has a bunch of multi-goal nights this season. Let's start going one every night. And I know that's a ridiculous ask, but a little bit more consistently. Don't go 4 or 5 games without one and then score 3. Score 1, then score another one, then score another one. You want to throw 2 or 3 in there, great. But you need to see that consistency on the goal scoring side from everyone on the Avs.
Yeah, I'd like to see some depth scoring today. I think that would be fun for this group. Get another good performance out of Wedgwood. Really take advantage of the sort of new look Colorado Avalanche and see if you can't, make something fun kind of sort of happen here.
Yeah.
CMAC mentioned that they were probably not done in terms of moving pieces on the chessboard.
Sure, yeah.
Obviously, they pick up Sidney Crosby tonight and they bring him back on the plane. You mentioned that in the cold open. Is there any truth to that Sidney Crosby, there is a possibility that it's a same game trade. I'd like to see the betting odds on Crosby starts as a Penguin tonight, plays the third period as an Avalanche.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Possible?
I'm the pessimist about this trade if you've watched any of our stuff. I don't think it's ever going to happen. It's a fun story if it does happen, but I don't think it's really a thing that can happen. Obviously, who knows, a year from now, 2 years from now, certainly with the seasons Pittsburgh's having, it probably increases the odds. If Crosby is a guy who says, you know what, I want to go out by being on top, he can't stay in Pittsburgh. He's not going to win another cup in Pittsburgh. I'll put it to you that way. So if that's what Crosby's thinking is, if Crosby wants one more, maybe you can have that conversation.
I also don't think he needs one more. His legacy is cemented.
He could retire tomorrow. Yeah, and he's probably a top 5 player of all time.
He's and top 5 human of all time too. So Sid can do whatever Sid wants to do, and no one's going to give him an ounce of crap for it.
No.
If he bails out of there for one more Stanley Cup just to say he did it,
pop off, King.
So be it. Go do it, win it, go back and retire. Plenty of guys have done that. There was a Ray guy who did it here. I can think of a lot of guys that jumped on that in the Red Wing chain to try to get their Stanley Cups. So, hell, if you want one more, if you want to have one more good party and shindig, go for it. And I think the place to do that could be Colorado because I'm expecting a long spring and hopefully a deep summer.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a bunch of reason to believe Colorado's a contender, and they have the advantage of having Nathan MacKinnon in that conversation.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The Avs also need a 3C, kind of, or at least some kind of depth centers. Their current depth centers aren't really centers. So,
well, and I mean, listen, here's the other thing, and we're not going to talk about it, but let's figure out what Landeskog does. And I think we're rapidly approaching a go-no-go for launch on that. As the great Pierre Lacroix used to say, one of his wonderful Pierre-isms, yes or no. And I think we're getting to that yes or no stage for Landeskog. And then towards the trade deadline, CMAC knows what he can go and do in terms of getting a depth center, maybe adding a bigger body on defense, perhaps. And all of that will, of course, be predicated on injuries and current lineup, etc. Couple minutes left here. We'll get the bets, but let's take a look at the lineup tonight, and then we'll take a look at the injuries as well. Let's start with the lines. This is what it will play out to be for now. I like Middleton with DeHaan. I do, but I like Malinsky with him a lot better, but I get the dynamics of those two players. And Smith will make his appearance tonight for the Colorado Avalanche. He did get on the plane and zip over. He'll play on that fourth line on the left with I-squared and Wags.
Yeah, look, expectations for Smith are extremely low. Just come in and play a fourth line role. Try not to get buried. The reality is, and I'm not trying to be mean here, but Giovanni Smith is pretty much just a warm body for the Avs. It's no different than playing in TJ Tynan or anything like that. Long term, the Avs are going to get one body back, and Smith will be the first guy out of the lineup. So it's just not a particularly impactful move as far as the Avs are concerned. And the way the Avs play their fourth line, we're talking about guys that get like 6 minutes a night. So there's just not a lot of hockey getting played there.
Let's go to Dr. Riviere. Dr. Riviere? Is he on the call? Oh, yes, there he is. We gotta change the title of that, Tiff. Not too much of an update here. Shillington's still week to week. Manson on that IR, no timeline for him. LTIR for Wood. Druin week to week. Nothing new, significant changing. Will change with Landeskog or Barons down or up in the down in the league, up in the town. I always could, Blackwood is not on the trip, guys. Was under the weather, went straight to Denver. Minor is backing up, as we had mentioned before. We'll see. We'll get an update on those injuries when they get back in town.
Just really quickly on the Landeskog situation, we're not quite there yet, but once you get to January, you start living in a conversation where no news is bad news. At a certain point, you need to start hearing positive things coming out of that camp that he's making progress, or you start leaning towards the, as you put it, a no.
Yes or no is coming in January.
I don't think you have to make that decision until February, probably, but if you're not hearing things in January, you start expecting a no. I'll put it to you that way. Is what it is. I think everyone wants Landy to come back, but we're just getting to that point where you can't keep living in this mystery box anymore. It is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. What you can't count on is that Bet365 is never, ever going to be ordinary, and it's time for our Bet365 pregame picks.
Yes, sir. You may have heard me talking about Pittsburgh having terrible goaltending and defense earlier, so take the over.
I said 5-1 tonight.
I'm taking a lot of goals tonight, that's for sure. Avs to cover is plus money. I think the Avs are in a good spot. They should be positive tonight. Things should be going good. They put themselves on a winning streak. This is kind of a big game to cap off not just this road trip, but also this 10-game stretch for them. There's a lot on the line for the Avs to go out and play well tonight. And then a Cale Makar power play point is plus 200 tonight. That is ridiculously good money for a Cale Makar power play point. So get in on that bet if you have to pick one. I think that's the way to earn some cash tonight with Bet365. Those are my pregame picks. Of course, get over and use the DNVR 365 code to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 on a new account. And of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today.
I checked all those boxes.
We did it.
Wait. Oh. I was 21, physically located, and I might have that number. What do you like about Do you like goals from, in addition, we got a couple minutes here. Do you like goals from Connor, Kucherov, and Pettersson? Or that's at plus 1704.
That's a lot.
Or do you like Aho, Matthews, Crosby at plus 1291?
I think I probably like that one better.
Really?
Yeah, Matthews is like automatic, so Aho has been decent this year with goal scoring. Crosby usually gets one against the Avs. I think I like that one. Yeah.
That's the one. So I'm going to take that in addition to your bets.
There you go.
I like that. We'll throw a little bit on that. Wonderful. What was that number again? You said there's a phone number you had?
Definitely 1-800-GAMBLER.
Oh,
Call
that's
that.
it.
Yeah.
Check. Yeah, we're struggling a little right now with the wins on this puppy. We will be doing a watch along with you tonight. I'm pretty excited for this game, to be quite honest with you. I do think it's a 5-1 win. Let's see here. I say 5-1. I say 5-1 victory. What do you got?
I'm going 6-2. One up you on both sides.
5-1.
Yeah.
You say 6-2.
Yeah, lots of goals tonight.
Okay, Tiff?
3-2.
Boring.
3-2. And my now hockey crazed nephew, Billy, he's got the Avs winning this one 4-2, which I like. By the way, kid's digging it, man. He's like we're skating now. He's crushing it. Excellent golfer, turning out to be a crushing hockey player. Proud of the kid. But big one tonight. Boy, oh boy, you could come away with a win on this. What a finish to the road trip it would be. It's already a win, but coming away with a win would be a win-win.
All wins around. Wins all around.
All wins around. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Colorado Avalanche dropped the puck in about 2 minutes. You can catch that game on Altitude, but stay with us for the watch along. We'll be back with you for the post-game show. Eric has you covered on intermission reports. And another big thank you to our friends at Coors Light, the presenting sponsor of the show, our friends at Bet365. Tiff for doing the Tiff things, Rudo for being Rudo. We appreciate you, Big E, calling in. AJ, always around. I'm Gizmo. Call your mom. Make sure you have a great day. Do something nice for somebody else. We'll see you for the watch along in just a moment.
We all silly like the mayor.